Hi everybody, it's Katie Snyder from Museum of the Grand Prairie in the Champaign County Forest Preserve District. But as you can see, I'm not there. I'm at home. I'm sheltering in place like you. I wanted to come to you today to do a read aloud. I was thinking about that this is the month of April. We're at the end of the month of April now. And earlier in the month, we had partnered with our friends at Urbana Moms and Coop Adventure Play and Urbana Arts and Culture Program to bring you haikus at home for April, because April is National Poetry Month. And before we are done with the month of April, I wanted to bring you a poem by one of my favorite poets, Maya Angelou. This poem is called Life Doesn't Frighten Me. Now, we're in a kind of a different sort of time, and sometimes some of us feel a little bit scared and a little bit frightened during times that are different and times of change where it's not usually the way that we have expected it to be in the past. I think my interpretation of this poem is that Maya Angelou wrote this poem to kind of teach us how to be brave and courageous, even in the face of things that might seem a little frightening, might seem a little different, that we can all be strong and we can be brave. And being brave doesn't really mean not being frightened. I think she's kind of doing a little play with us here. It doesn't really mean not being frightened. It means go ahead and do what you have to do anyway, right? So I think she wrote this for kids, but I think she also wrote it for grown-ups. So I hope everybody gives it a listen. This is called Life Doesn't Frighten Me by Maya Angelou. And the paintings in here are really interesting. They're by Jean-Michel Basquiat. And we'll talk a little bit more about him at the end, but I think you're going to like his paintings. Life Doesn't Frighten Me. Shadows on the wall. We'll turn it this way. Shadows on the wall, noises down the hall. See the picture? See the painting? He's using some reds and some blacks and some kind of strong brush strokes. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Bad dogs barking loud. You can kind of hear my dog over there. It's not a bad dog. He's a good dog. Oh, nobody's calling you a bad dog, bud. You're a good dog. Come here. He's a good dog. Yeah, you're a good dog. Big ghosts in a cloud. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Kind of scary, but they're being brave. Mean old Mother Goose, lions on the loose, they don't frighten me at all. Dragons, breathing flame on my counterpane, that doesn't frighten me at all. Kind of like that picture of the dragon. That's one of my favorites. I go boo, make 'em shoo. I make fun. Way they run, I won't cry, so they fly. I just smile, they go wild. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Kind of some of the ways you can respond if you feel a little scared sometimes. Tough guys fight all alone at night. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Panthers in the park. Strangers in the dark. No, they don't frighten me at all. That new classroom where boys pull my hair, kissy little girls with their hair and curls, they don't frighten me at all. Don't show me frogs and snakes and listen for my scream. I'm not afraid at all. It's only in my dreams. You seeing more nature these days? Getting out in your backyard, if you have a backyard, or getting out and walking around your block. I got a magic charm that I keep up my sleeve. I can walk the ocean floor and I never have to breathe. Wouldn't that be fun? Kind of always wanted to do that. Kind of always wanted to be a mermaid. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Not at all. Not at all. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Now, they're saying life, she's saying life doesn't frighten her at all, over and 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 over again. I think she's kind of saying that, in my opinion, to kind of lift herself up and to make herself feel a little bit more brave. But it's okay, because if things frighten you, that's just normal, right? It's normal to have things that frighten you. It might be a dragon, might be, that's not a real thing though, right? Might be real things, might be pretend things. I want to show you also a picture. This is Maya Angelou. And she did so many things in her life. I know a lot of us think of her as a poet, and she certainly was a poet. But given that we're the Museum of the Grand Prairie and we talk about history, I want to talk to you just a little bit about the fact that she was also a civil rights activist. So from 1959 to 1960, she was the Northern Coordinator in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s Southern Christian Leadership Conference. So I don't know if a lot of people knew that, or a lot of kids knew that, but yeah, she was a civil rights activist. That was something she did. She met a South African freedom fighter and traveled with him to England and to Egypt and to Ghana. And when their relationship ended, she stayed on in Africa. She became the first woman editor of the Cairo English Language News Weekly and later a professor at the University of Ghana. So all throughout the 60s, she continued to fight for human rights, including those of African Americans and women. I wanted to show you a picture of the artist, Jean-Michel Basquiat, and a little bit about him. He was born in 1960. He was came from an immigrant family, so that's kind of interesting. He grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and his father was Haitian, and his mother was Puerto Rican. So they had seen all these kind of cool artistic things in the city of New York, and his art always took in all the things that were happening around him. His paintings are really big, and he used paint, and they're bold, and he had those big, bold brush strokes that you saw. So this is an interesting time, isn't it, friends, that we're living in right now. So you might want to write a poem about what's going on in your world now, or you might want to make some art, just like these two friends did, about what's going on in your world right now. And those things, those poems, and those pieces of art will become part of the history of what's going on in our world right now as we shelter in place. And should you decide to do any of that, I would just love to see some of that. You could post it here, or you could email me. My name's Katie Snyder. You could email it ksnyder@ccfpd.org, and that could become part of the history of what was going on in the minds of our friends in Champaign County. It could be a kid, you could be adult, doesn't matter. Because I know we're all doing all sorts of things that are brave and different and courageous and not kind of what we had in mind when we thought what we were going to be doing right now. But we're lifting ourselves up, and we're lifting each other up. And sometimes we say words like, life doesn't frighten me at all. And that's okay, because we're working really hard to have a new way of thinking in this time. And remember, being brave and being courageous isn't not feeling frightened. It's just doing what you need to do daily, like Maya Angelou did. Okay, friends, happy National Poetry Month. Stay safe, stay strong. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.